a native,
Yeah.
Well, by now,
almost.
Almost.
He hasn't earned his native stripes yet, but he's getting close.
We are live and recording.
Alright.
all righty, so let us begin. It is Wednesday, the 23rd of November, 2022. And this is a regular meeting of the Ottawa Valley Board of Selectmen. I am Rich Reed, the chair, and with us today is Bob Freeze, select board member. 2 out of 3 selectmen being here, we have a quorum. I don't see anybody for a privilege of the floor, so why don't we move right to the financial report?
No real change since the last meeting. I think we're tracking pretty close. To doing pretty well.
From a revenues standpoint, we did see one very large building permit come in.
Yeah.
So you'll see that revenue line exceeding budget by, quite a bit there. But besides that, all the revenues and expenses are, as Mark said, trending as anticipated.
And with the 1 quarter left for water and sewer, we should make budget on all of those. Don't see any reason that we have to worry about that. And if you look at the total being at 86%, 87%, 121,000 of that is fund balance use. So if we put that in there right now, we'd only have $110,000 in revenue to make, which is going to be made just by the sewer
Alone.
side alone. So we're going to be over budget revenue wise. So that's good because we don't, in essence, what that's going to do, every dollar over that we collect goes against reducing that 121,000
Fund balance.
use of fund balance. So really good trends on revenues.
I'm good. I don't see any.
I have one very quick question. and We'll discuss this during our budget discussions in a couple weeks, but the revenue from the solid waste collection disposal from the increase in the rates.
Mhm.
How is that comparing to? It looks like it's really offsetting the. Have we reached close to parity between the cost
Yeah,
of?
we'll be close, but then we're gonna have the increases for 23 that will start to see it shift back again, to
Okay,
be at a loss again.
okay. Yeah, that's why we'll talk about it in our
Yeah, we'll
budget.
have to talk about
Right.
what we're gonna do. And while we're talking about this too, on the water and sewer side,
Mhm.
we did talk to DES about our position on the priority list
Right,
for the project.
right.
Because we found the median household income was lower
Right.
than what we thought it was. But in talking to Kathy Beret, they use the 76,750 number in the calculation. The reason that it didn't help us was because they take that MHI number and they
Mhm.
multiply it by or divide it by the rate, whatever it is, but they come up with a ratio comparing it to our water and sewer rates. And because our
Are so
rates
low.
are so
We're still
low,
getting hammered.
we're
by
still
that.
getting hammered. So they did use the correct number, but it really did not have any effect to give us any more points.
Mhm.
So we definitely need to talk about the water and sewer rates. See what we can do.
Yeah, I think we're in the 3rd year, potentially the 3rd year, of the increase that.
We've done 2, yeah.
We've done 2 of the 3.
Mhm.
All right, well. Trash and water sewer.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Yep.
All righty, department head reports.
Dave?
Hi,
Good morning.
good morning. Not too much, been busy on the inspection side, both building and fire, just wrapping up. And trying to urge a lot of the properties in town to get their re-inspections done. For their annual life safety stuff. Wrote 2 citations last week for building permits, not having building permits and doing projects. And know, ever. Since we said we're starting from square one, that's the way I'm treating it, so, everybody's getting an education.
Have we sent out the, that letter that you had drafted?
Or
notice?
I've been sharing it as it's appropriate, you know, to the, I didn't mass mail it.
Mail it,
but,
okay.
all the businesses, hotels, commercial properties will get copies of that, and I've been doing it as.
Right,
I've
it's
been
more notice
doing
than a
my-
letter, right?
Yep, I've been doing it as I've been, doing those re-inspections.
But you're not doing citations until after they've had that letter and have had a chance to.
Correct.
So the two that you sent were multiple offenders or
No,
people that
one
we
was for
talked to.
AmeriGas, and
Well, that was
they know better.
Stupid, yeah.
You know, you're putting in 1,000-gallon propane tanks in the ground. They need to be inspected, and the whole reason why we have a building permit process is that those inspections get done. When you don't pull a permit, we don't inspect them, so we have to make sure that that doesn't happen again with those big companies.
That's unusual, yeah.
Yeah, they know better.
It's a public safety thing.
Mhm.
So, but other than that, Cody graduated firefighter 1 this past weekend, so we're glad, one less thing off his plate. We're happy to have him back on a somewhat regular schedule again. But other than that, we're doing okay.
Excellent.
I don't think I've heard of-
EMT classes going well.
Yes, EMT class is going.
What does that mean, Patrick?
For
For those who can't see.
I am part of that AEMT class. It's going in.
Yeah,
It's going, okay.
Well, they're scheduled to wrap up just before Christmas, so, we don't expect them to test. They still have, their clinical time they need to do in the hospitals. And, also get their, national, be able to meet their state requirements before they get their national certification.
How many people do you have in?
We have
Okay.
5
5?
currently in class. Yeah, for AEMT. So, which is a big deal because that really brings up the level of care. We had a lot of EMT, so many of these EMT students went right from the EMT class into the AEMT class. It's a little more of a dive into the all aspects of care. So it's a little more bookwork for them, and the practical stations they get to do a lot more invasive procedures. So there's a lot of practical stuff.
Does Jeff do that?
Jeff is teaching class, yes. So we'll be happy to, kind of get all them back and wrap up, and I'm sure. As some of the students have said that they're looking forward to getting that finished up, so. Towards the end, they start doing a lot more practical stuff. It's not as much bookwork, so.
Good. Patrick?
Well, just a friendly reminder, we've sent out a couple tips the last couple weeks. Lock your cars, please.
Mhm.
They're getting broken into, not broken into, they're just getting opened and pillaged through. So just.
And it's not the Bears.
Correct, it's not, it's just people. And then the other thing is, we don't utilize our cell phones for contact. I've sent out a tip the other day for that too. Please call the 4732 to reach out, or 911 if it's an emergency.
Mhm.
But other than that.
I followed, I've had the same box truck, it's a vendor in the valley. Passed me twice in the last month going out of town.
What time?
Well, this morning was 6:45.
Okay.
And usually it's, as you know, I usually go out about an hour later than that.
Yeah.
And it's the same guy. The last time he passed me, not by Flat Rocks, but the next, which isn't very long. He passed me and the state plow, which was in the middle of the road on a snowy road.
Yeah.
On that stretch that isn't very long.
Okay.
And today he passed me and when we got on the highway, he took off. He must have been going 85 down the highway.
Did you get a plate by chance?
Huh?
Do you get a plate by chance, or do you? I can talk to you after if you want to tell me more
Yeah,
details on.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, and that's for anybody. If you guys are anybody at all that's having cars. We had some complaints last year, an employee that kept coming into town at a very high rate of speed. Actually, Steve, I can see him nodding his head. He was passing employees coming in.
Yeah.
And we just went out there and sat one morning and obviously. he
This
was
is a
again.
big box truck,
Yeah.
and it's like,
So we
holy
stopped
moly.
him the next day, educated him with a summons on, you need to slow down, and he's got another one since then, so.
I'll talk to you after.
One run road in and one road out.
Yeah.
Usually those are very easily corrected.
Yeah,
How's hockey going?
Hockey is actually going very well.
Great.
And I
Good to
think
hear.
well, it's also the beginning, so, I mean, that helps, it's all new again. But two hotels, the bigger hotels, my understanding, both have security now.
Oh, really?
Which is their security is handling the children running up and down the hall, knocking on the door, not calling
Good.
us for it, so
Right.
it's being utilized for what it's there for. So it seems to be working very well.
By security, you mean someone that just
Yeah,
employed?
they've hired, I think.
Is
one
it
is
a company they
There's a
hire?
company and the other one is an employee they've hired to kind of just do security. So, but yeah, they're kind of taking care of their own issues that weren't really police related, so that we're not
Right,
getting.
well,
those
something
calls.
we were,
Correct, we were getting the calls before for that.
we were
so, yep.
hoping that they'd step up to
Yeah,
the
and they
plate.
definitely did, so it's working out pretty good.
Excellent.
That's it.
All right,
Happy Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving. Steve?
Budget season, so that's been consuming most of my time the past week or so. We're pretty close on finalizing our budget summary for 2023, and then we'll be looking to speak with you folks within the next week or two.
Week of the 5th.
Week of the 5th?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should,
when's Margaret back?
She gets back next
she left
Thursday, I
yesterday,
think.
right? Yeah, it was like, what, week?
Yeah.
But we should probably at the end of the meeting, we should probably let Mark know what our schedules look like.
Yeah,
so-
I've got it under.
Yeah,
calendar.
or we can do it under calendar so that. All you have to do is then check with
That
Margaret and then
yeah.
see what fits.
From an administrative standpoint, I think the one area that we'll see needing to be adjusted the most, in my opinion, is our IT lines. Just to get caught up with the whole cybersecurity wave that's going on right now. There are definitely some things that the town should do to protect ourselves against cybersecurity threats, and unfortunately, it's expensive to do that. But
Mhm.
I have submitted an application for a cybersecurity grant. That's a result of the audit that we had this year from the Department of Homeland Security. And, with any luck, come April or May of next year, we'll hear back if we've been awarded that grant. But it's $100,000, 50,000 on water, 50,000 on wastewater to kind of beef up our firewalls and our
Right.
systems across the
Right.
board.
And because all of our systems are across all of the departments, a lot of the improvements that we can make in those two departments will carry over.
carry over,
to
right.
everybody else, so.
What about on the community, message thing the other day, you were talking about a new website for the sewage treatment
Yep,
plant?
we're working, Dylan and Steve and I need to review it, but it's been drafted up. And we're gonna go live probably within the next week or two. We'll get that started.
So is that get charged under IT, or does that get charged under the treatment plant?
The work's being done under the plant, under the project.
The water
Yeah.
project,
No, the
No.
wastewater.
the wastewater, excuse me, the wastewater.
The goal of that website is to be the place where we put all the information about the project, right? We'll have a frequently asked questions list.
Right.
and-
So the town site won't be
So
small.
the town
So-
website won't
Yeah.
be used at all. This will be a standalone site.
I was- We were thinking of getting some type of a monitor too that we could put up at the post office that would.
Yeah.
Somehow stream that website kind of live, maybe as a slideshow kind of a presentation for people to review while they're at the post office. The public relations person with the engineering company told me that there's a kind of like a thumb drive that you can put into the
Mhm.
smart TV
Mhm.
that feeds off of Wi-Fi, so
Mhm.
as we're making edits and updates to the website, it's just live live updating over there at the post.
Live update this show.
Good idea.
And, yeah, okay.
Potentially use it for other announcements.
Yeah, I've got another thing under calendar review about that, but.
Okay. Anything else, Steve?
That's it.
Good. All right. Jim,
Not much is really going on. We're just ready for winter now. We got,
Friday snow. Looks like,
yeah, it's, they keep changing their minds.
yeah, they do.
But, we got sand and salt stockpile and the trucks are all outfitted, so we should be ready. Hopefully.
Any idea when the state's gonna finish the guardrail project on Triple
I
I?
think I'm pretty sure that this is probably the last of it right here. I'm not quite sure if they're gonna continue up to the
Somebody is-
ski area road or not, but,
How far up they're gonna go, yeah.
right. So. Yeah, this was, this out here, I guess they saved the worst for last.
Yeah, especially at the corner there, it was pretty well
It was, it took-
destroyed.
Yeah, it was a couple of the guys were using their wings, quite, aggressively over the last couple of years.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty much what it is.
That and the cars that
It
don't
bounced
slow
off.
down enough.
Right,
Coming down.
That's what I-
Make the right turn. to
that's
go
what
to
I
the ski
assume. They
area,
keep on
and
going,
Go right across.
right,
If they don't
Slide.
have the car waiting to turn,
right.
they
Yeah,
hit that guardrail.
Other than that, not much.
excellent.
Quiet, which is good.
All right. Dylan, did you have anything or is it under the wastewater treatment?
Everything's good. Everything's going well.
Okay, great. So, should I make no conclusion that Brooke isn't here and the boat shed was moved? There's no connection between
There's
the
no
two?
connection.
Okay,
There's no connection.
You didn't go missing.
All the comments were positive. The boats have been moved.
Yeah.
And
And the shed is full.
the shed is full.
yeah, nice photos I saw yesterday,
The boat's going across the pond.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty,
So
pretty
we, it was either that or carry them. So,
Do we have EMT at the turkey plunge?
Plunge.
We'll have we have 2 on and then we have somebody on the wetsuit. So we'll have 3 there.
Any update on that woman that's lost up in,
They said today it was a recovery.
yeah.
yeah, it's a recovery for sure.
That's all they said. They said it on the news this morning, it was a recovery.
Something's not right. That story. And what's wrong with the mother? I mean,
I haven't heard.
it's strange.
Here comes Brooke.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So, yeah, so
Busy.
she'll be in just a minute.
All right.
So calendar review.
Alrighty, so the ZBA has a variance hearing on the 30th. Budget workshops, week of December 5th. Let's give you some days for that. We could do it now if you'd like.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right. And then you can just plug in when you get a chance to talk to Margaret.
Yeah.
It's the week after next.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
the first full week of
first
December.
full week of December.
Okay, so December 5th.
I'm here.
So I'd say on Monday, the 5th, from 2 p.m. on, I'm good. All day Tuesday,
Okay,
I'm good. Wednesday is a bad day for me.
How's Tuesday for you, Bob?
Good, I'm fine. I'm fine all week.
the 8th.
The 8th, from, well, that'd be more like 3 p.m. on,
Okay,
and same on Friday, the 9th. I don't know if I want to delay that. I can do Friday anytime in the morning up until about 12:30, and then after 3 on Friday, the 9th.
we use the 9th as a reserve day, but
Yeah,
we'll be able, between those 3 days, the 5th, 6th and 8th, we'll be able to
plug in a couple days.
plug in a
and
few days.
then and then
I'll get
morning
you
of
the
the 9th
schedule
use as a
as a reserve.
reserve.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next regular board meeting is on the 14th of December. And I see planning board meeting should be the eighth, right?
It is the 8th.
Should be the eighth. Planning board on the eighth.
That's right above the next regular. Oh, you're looking at the agenda. It's
Yeah.
correct in the packet. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, no, I was looking at the agenda on.
Yeah.
Paper agenda.
So
What,
Okay.
is it the eighth or the fifteenth?
it's the.
It's the eighth is the
Okay,
planning
sorry,
board at
yes.
eight in the morning. And we're the 15th at 3. I mean, the 14th
14th
at 3.
So in addition to these dates, I was talking to Dylan and I'd like to start with public informational times
Okay,
on the wastewater treatment plant project, and I'm looking to start that on the 15th of December. And then January 4th or 5th and 18th or 19th, these would be just general sit down, go through a few slides about the project, where we are. And then primarily to answer folks' questions.
Is that gonna be at night?
Yeah, it can be evenings, we can do Saturdays, if, you know, during, especially during January, during President's Day or whatever,
People are here.
when people are here. But just have some time to let people start to hear about the project. So, I'd like to start that on the 15th, probably with like a 6 p.m.
Yeah,
thing.
I'm good. 15th at
And
6,
yeah,
public hearing.
Yeah, and I'm not, there's no requirement for you guys to be here.
Right.
It was mostly for Dylan and I to start addressing
Okay,
questions and kind of like what we did during the Labor Day weekend.
Right.
Just have some general information, frequently asked questions. We'll advertise it on the website and put it out at the community meetings and that sort of thing. And then just
so not necessarily a public hearing.
not a hearing, no,
Okay.
it's nothing legal or anything
Okay.
about it. It is
So,
just
information
information
session.
times. Yep,
On the,
yep.
Okay.
And before it starts showing up in the wigwag or on
Right.
social media or whatever, let's get the information
oh,
flow
Okay.
started.
you think you'd have it here, the meeting here?
Probably do it here and then work it out if it ends up being a big thing and people, the
Mhm.
next one, maybe we can do at the conference center or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the rooms in
Yeah.
Town Square.
or town square, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Are you okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Good
So we'll
idea.
target the 15th.
Okay,
For that first one.
yep. All right, that's the calendar review. Let me go back to department head reports, and I imagine you're very busy. Brooke, good morning.
Morning. Yeah, we have our activities for the weekend, started today. No school, so we have lots of things on the menu for today and the weekend, starting on Friday. So that's really all we have. We have the shed moved now and the boats put away. That's great. And also December programs going up. So nothing really to speak about it, except for that.
What do we do with those boat racks?
I guess I'll talk to Ian and see, but I think they're pretty much garbage at this point. Maybe
Is the resort usually stored them for us, is that correct, or?
They,
Did we-
yeah,
yeah.
we took them down in the fall and I'm not sure where they were put, but yeah, Ian is usually our contact for that, so I can reach out to him and see. We do have plans to store a couple of the boats in the summer on the outside of the shed, so perhaps we can put part of those to use, there, but I'll get with him and figure that out.
Kind of an advertisement for the boats, right? As far as keeping them outside of the
Yeah.
shed, so.
Yeah, that was the one thing we were thinking is it might be nice to have a couple boats, at least out during the day. So that people can see, yes, there's still boat rentals there, but we will have the boats on the pond like we always do, so.
Mhm.
We're still kind of figuring that out.
Any questions? No? All right, thank you. All right, new business, non-monetary town meeting warrant articles.
Yeah, we already,
Of which there are a
we
number,
already have 9.
yeah,
One of them is kind of monetary in that it's the additional cost of transferring the MSW to Wind Waste. So our plan is we're gonna budget within the budget number will be the estimate for taking everything up to Bethlehem.
mhm,
And then there would be a separate warrant article because there is a significant
mhm.
cost difference. Would be a warrant article for an increased amount for MSW disposal. That
then
would
see
be
which
to
way-
Take it and then let the
Let
town
the town decide.
decide which. way
So,
they
so
want.
do we have the proposal from,
We
Concord?
do have the numbers. It's about 20, well, about 30% higher just for the tipping fee. And then there are additional charges for trucking and disposal of the ash. And those vary, so we're just gonna have to estimate.
did we
those.
think the trucking would be cheaper? Going to Concord?
No, I think it's about the same distance. So I don't see that our cost of operating the truck is gonna be different. It's gonna be pretty much exactly the
there.
same.
Surcharge or charge.
Their
for-
charge, so
Right.
they have a charge for their trucking when they take the ash away. And then they have an ash disposal surcharge. So they charge you the tipping fee.
Right,
Which operates the plant. And then they have those 2 surcharges, but those 2 surcharges are variable through the year.
Correct.
So,
Really?
yeah, we're gonna have to do some estimating on that.
mhm.
I'm still waiting for an actual contract, so we have it all
Compare.
in writing, but we have an
Right.
email. Right
And the
now.
escalator on.
The
those.
escalator, they would like a minimum of a 3-year contract, and the escalator on the tipping fee is 6% or CPI, whichever is higher.
So they recycle? Is
Well,
that-
it's all energy to
Yeah,
waste.
so
energy.
that would-
Right.
Resolve, quote unquote, our recycling issue.
Right.
Yeah.
But it'll come at a premium cost.
That's right.
In addition, there are things we will not be able to bring to.
That's right.
So that'll be an
So-
additional cost.
Yeah, we'll talk about how that's impacting.
Right,
And that'll be part of that additional cost in that warrant article. We
Right.
would put that because we'll be able to do mattresses and other
Right.
stuff. That we
which is all
currently
part of the
pay for that.
contract. That's already part of the contract with the tip, we go to Bethlehem, right? Or is
Well,
that?
no,
with Penny?
In Bethlehem, they accept construction and demolition debris,
Right.
bulky items,
Right, which wind waste will not, right?
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
that's what I was.
So we're still going to have to maintain a relationship with Bethlehem because we're
Right.
gonna, the demolition debris dumpster that's at the transfer station will still be there.
Right,
And we still have household hazardous waste and those sorts of things, so
In bulky
that's,
items.
and bulky items, so we're gonna still have some relationship with North Country Environmental.
Do we have any date that we have to commit to either one of them?
It would be, well, no, not before town meeting.
Okay,
We would be looking at a May 1st start.
Correct, the Penny Baker Solid Waste District has signed a contract with NCES, the Bethlehem landfill, and that goes into effect May 1 of 23 and is good through 27, April 27, I believe.
so we have to decide whether we want to,
Whether or not
We
we want
wanna
to
join.
participate.
So right now, we're
That
still on the old
contract.
Right.
contract.
so are we still in that to the extent of the other material?
Yes, we're gonna stay in the Penny Baker Solid Waste District because they provide other services for us. It's just a matter of whether or not we take our MSW Concord, so.
So that
So
would be a
that's
separate
number 9.
warrant
That's number
article for
9
the
on your
town.
List.
Good.
The other things are things, especially Dave and Patrick have been talking about some ordinance changes that we need to implement to either update to current law or to make changes based on what's been happening over the past year. So the list is here and the responsible names
All right.
are on here as well. So if you have any general questions right now, I can tell you that the veterans tax credit modification is for changes, recent changes in state law.
Right.
They expanded the qualifications for a veteran, so we just need to adopt language. I'm working with the Renewable Energy Committee on their community power question and making a change in solar power because that has been expanded.
Again, an update to
It's an update.
update. A lot of
to
these
law.
seem to be
Yep.
updates.
So some of them we already have language on and some of them we're working on. But the ordinances, so the noise ordinance, you want to talk to that real quick?
My recommendation is to change it so that it reflects what days the town's not open. So it would be the major holidays, not every holiday.
Federal.
Yeah. For federal.
Still keep
Right now
it
we
as
have
federal, but
Every federal holiday.
except for,
But my thought process behind it is that in Columbus Day, Veterans Day, June 19th, Juneteenth is if the town office is open and they can get a building permit, why should they not be able to work that day? Because we run into a lot of issues on Veterans Day and Columbus Day with noise.
especially this year, yeah, because of all the construction.
So I've got a list here, New Year's, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are the days that the office is closed. So those would be the days that we would list out. We would take out the words federal holiday.
So
And
what we're
replace it with
looking at
this
here
list.
is then the existing ordinance.
That's
It
correct.
just says federal,
That's- It just says
Yeah,
federal
federal,
holiday
so
right
it'd be-
now, and that's what's causing confusion.
Right.
Yeah.
of which
because
there are
we're-
what, 11, I
working-
think,
There are 11,
11.
so we're taking that down to the 5, to the big 5.
6.
Or
Six,
6,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, one reason why I support that is their construction season is so short as it is. And kind of in support that we really want them to get their projects done.
Yes,
You know, these few extra days do mean a lot to some of these
Right.
contractors. And it means a lot for us because it means that they can get stuff done on time and
get out of town,
get out of town.
right.
So which of the federal holidays are we not gonna record?
Juneteenth, Columbus Day,
Veterans Day,
Veterans Day,
President's Day, and,
President's Day,
MLK
and
Day.
MLK.
but again, this will
Now-
all be part of a public hearing.
Right,
Yeah,
right. We
so-
have a public hearing and all of that, but
Right.
the President's Day and the MLK, it isn't.
Dead of winter.
It's the dead of winter, so that's not really, it's primarily the Juneteenth, Veterans Day and Columbus Day that we're talking about.
Right.
So.
Okay.
But anyway, that's one, and then the animals, I think, as part of the budget process, we need to talk about how we're gonna. Deal with waterfowl around the beach area. So Patrick
Yeah.
had an idea.
So
That we
we
need
have
to-
an ordinance for animals already.
We're not gonna kill the ducks.
No,
correct.
no. not
Okay,
for
just want to get that on the record.
Yes. no killing ducks. In order for us to enforce it, we need to add waterfowl. It is not under definitions that we have currently in our ordinance. So we relate to fishing game for fur bearing and game animals.
Right,
And waterfowls was not listed.
okay,
So if we want to enforce our ordinance, we would need to add waterfowl.
right. Do people bait ducks? I mean,
Well, they're just feeding.
Well, no,
They're
they're
feeding,
feeding,
they're feeding.
and they're
So if
becoming
we catch people
domesticated.
Right.
feeding them, we can address it and actually issue them a summons,
right,
which will hopefully.
If I look at A,
Yeah.
under 1A, I would think that bird feeders would be illegal. Right, it says purpose of this ordinance baiting shall mean placing any food or other substances so as to lure or attract wild animals.
But animals in the definition do
Yeah.
not include birds.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It does certain birds, but not.
Yeah.
Ducks are not in there. And bird feeders are kind of regulated by
Turkeys
fishing
and
games
games.
time of year.
Not game birds, it
Yeah.
doesn't cover. you know,
Turkey
legal
or-
baiting for
Yeah,
hunting purposes, the essence of the ordinance is
Yeah, I don't know whether you should add
the bear.
for hunting purposes at the end of that, but
Well, I think there's some language in there that excludes it from. Permitted baiting for
Yeah.
hunting.
So we'll make some changes on that and come up with language
Yeah.
for you and again have public hearings.
Right.
That's,
And advertising, people come out
Yeah.
and let us know what they
Yeah.
think. I do think
And-
there may be another ordinance that actually. Or maybe not a town ordinance, about bird feeders from April 1st to. November, does the town have any? Ordinance, I'm misremembering, I think,
on bird feeders.
bird feeders, we don't have anything on bird feeders, it must have been a
No,
homeowners,
fishing game.
homeowners
does have
association,
Recommendations, that you bring them in, you know.
it's a recommendation,
during-
right?
In the spring, you know, just to keep bears away, because the bears will be attracted to it.
Yes.
We may want to work with the resort in Town Square as well, because most of almost every time I go over there, somebody is chasing around a duck trying to.
Sure.
Yes,
I mean, it's
Kids,
happening.
ducks, of course,
Adults are doing that too. So we may have to actually work with the resort to.
Right.
Put signage up
Yes.
around Town
Right.
Square.
but once we get the ordinance
yeah, we'll get the
updated,
wording, we'll get the
then we
wording
can
settled
with
and,
resort about
Yes.
signage or,
Yeah.
but that's a good idea to do it through WVRA and
Yeah.
through Town Square.
yeah,
Because they're gonna be major
Definitely.
supporters.
That's where it's-
Language that add.
Right.
Sign on the beach.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think sign on the beach would be, a couple signs there would be helpful.
And we
The
need
obvious
to,
spots.
we need to address the sign, Brooke and I were looking at it the other day. Need to get the side of the sign, the town sign that's there by the pump house.
Mhm.
We need the one side that faces the pump house needs to be redone.
We replaced the other one 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
ago, and so we need to.
We need
next
to-
year replace
Right,
Yeah.
okay,
the site that's in bad shape.
do we have a comment from Waterfowl?
No. And then solid waste disposal ordinance is is a major part of the AOC. Because we're gonna be putting up the sign for 6 AM to 6 PM.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
talk about that on the,
Control time, but we need to change our ordinance. That's
Right.
number 6 there on the list. And we've got a place in the solid waste ordinance that you have there.
Mhm.
We can just add a
Yes.
comment about
Right.
dumping.
Yeah.
That we just want to get away from state
Right.
law, right, where it's a misdemeanor.
well, it's a misdemeanor for illegal dumping if we
Yeah.
enact that.
Yeah,
So-
I see where you're going,
So it's
right,
a misdemeanor, it's technically a criminal offense versus
right.
an ordinance, which is a violation level offense. no
Okay.
criminal record.
And whereas we will be putting into effect the times when one could
Right.
take your trash to the central facility here.
Right.
Any violation of that,
Would be against town ordinance versus a misdemeanor.
right,
State
right now it would be
Right now it would be
be a
state law.
misdemeanor until we change. Until we change, and so that
so we
becomes a
should
town
add the
ordinance.
times on this.
we would have the times on that. We'll come up with language
Right.
to do that. And then Dave had some issues, the building permit.
Yeah,
Ordinance.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to tighten up the language and fix the language on the building permit, and I know we talked about having a conversation about. You know, what's the threshold for a building permit? And.
Raise it, you mean from 1,000?
Whether you feel like we need, it's a very low threshold, which has its benefits, because.
It has people coming.
You know, we got people coming in, but, the biggest thing is, the licensed work. You know, if you're doing licensed work, then a lot of times it prompts, inspections, so they should be pulling permits for licensed work, because it means that we should be looking at it, whether it's plumbing, electrical, gas,
Well, the health and safety sorts of
Yep.
things.
so those sorts of things. So right now, the language doesn't cover not specifically licensed work, it's just $1,000 and or life safety. But not necessarily plumbing, electrical or gas is life safety. So,
I see.
Weren't we also gonna change something that if it's a maintenance nature, like replacing existing roof with the same kind of roof or
It's-
driveway?
Absolutely.
It's more repair,
Absolutely, and
maintenance,
I
right?
think I would like to define what
Yeah.
maintenance is.
Sure,
You know, for what. You're not, what you don't, what doesn't qualify, doesn't meet the standard for a permit. You know, cause I basically see maintenance, like you just said, you're replacing a shingle roof with a shingle roof, I consider that maintenance. If you're redoing your kitchen cabinets and you're not changing anything. You know, your plumbing's not moving, your outlets aren't moving. That's.
just
that's
changing
an
the
upgrade,
door in your
that's maintenance.
cabinets, right?
Yeah, that's maintenance. So I'd like to differentiate that. There's a lot of confusion with a lot of the contractors of. Do I pull a permit for this? Do I not? Do I have to? Isn't this maintenance?
What about painting your house? Same thing.
Maintenance,
Same thing, maintenance, yeah.
yeah, maintenance, repaving the driveway. Consider that maintenance. If it's already paved, if it's dirt, then that's an upgrade, then pull a permit. But, you know, you go from a shingle to a metal roof, that's an upgrade, need a permit. But if you're essentially not changing anything, you're just maintaining the property that you have. In most cases, I don't think you need a permit for that.
Okay,
So we'll make those language changes and get you a draft. I mean, just for department heads, I think in fairness, we need to get those to you in December.
right, so we can,
So we can hold the hearings and
right,
get them done. So let's target the 14th for all the language changes on these.
Sure.
that sounds good.
And then
And then,
we'll set
yeah,
up a public hearing.
public hearing and then everyone can take a look at them.
All right. And then we
All right.
know we're getting one petition, so.
Right,
Yeah.
and then the planning board has
And the
some
planning
minor,
board is working on some minor zoning amendments that
Right.
they're gonna discuss at their meeting on the 8th.
right. And then they will have a public
And then
hearing,
they'll have a public
on
hearing
this.
at the January planning board meeting on
Okay.
that language change.
very good. All right, moving along to old business. The administrative order by consent with regard to the
Yep.
transfer station.
So we have the draft. I think, Jim and I have looked it over. I don't see anything that is necessary. It is a different implementation date instead of December 31st. They put December 1st in this. I don't think that that's an issue because it does say that if we have a problem with the
Right.
construction or whatever, we can request extensions. So.
And we plan to be done
And
by
we
then.
plan to be
anyway,
done
right.
before the beginning of December anyway. So I don't see any, do you have any concerns about that?
There's a lot of paving, so it has to be done
Yeah.
prior to, way.
Way before December 1st anyway, so, yeah. And the only other thing is the immediate requirements that are on
Right.
here. So the one that is the biggest deal is limiting use of the current facility down here.
The central,
The central
Transfer
transfer
station,
station
right.
where it is right now by Public Works Garage. We're only allowed to operate that from 6 AM to 6 PM. The AOC does say that the requirement is to post signage
mhm,
to that effect. It does not require us to put up a gate or do anything
man it or any of that.
or man it. We are trying to figure out how to do that effectively. So we will put up a large fluorescent sign that says, this facility is only open 6 AM to 6 PM.
Fluorescent? Is that what you said?
Well, fluorescent or,
Oh,
just bright or,
Flashing
something
neon.
that's
Flashing neon signs.
flashing neon,
I was thinking of a
everything
sandwich.
short of flashing neon.
I was thinking of a sandwich board, because I don't think people read the signs that are already on the dumpsters.
No,
Yeah, we'll
Something
figure
in front.
out something that is, but we were talking about how do you do that? Short of We don't want directed patrols or anything like that from public safety, but we already have cameras that are monitoring the transfer station. So we'll use those, and when people are here outside of those hours, we'll just tell people that
Yeah.
they can't use it.
So should we also put on that sign that it's for residents? Yes.
Yes, yep, yep. Residents and property owners
Yeah.
and
And guests
guests
of
of
the above.
Waterville Valley only, yep. And so we'll do what we can, and I think,
And also
You know-
take it off the website.
yep, and we'll modify the website, and
Mhm.
do the other things that DES is requiring us. So I don't think that, I think that if you vote to go ahead and return this to DES and say that we can comply with these requirements, we'll get to work on the new transfer station application. That's in the immediate requirements.
So just for the listening public, there are really
Yep.
two things going on here.
Mhm.
One is the requirement to build an interim transfer station by the 1st of December.
Correct.
And that is to be subject to this administrative order. by
1st of December
consent
next year.
Of next year, excuse me,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And more immediate, then there were seven orders that the town of Waterville Valley was required to undertake as part of this administrative order by consent. The one most noticeable to townspeople is that we will now have to limit, once this order goes into effect, the
Use.
dumping the use, complete use, the central transfer station to the hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It looks like 7 days a week. I don't
Yes,
see,
7
I
days a
don't
week.
see
There's
any,
no limitation.
no limitation. And a violation of that, right now would be a
Legal dumping.
Right
illegal
now,
dumping
illegal
and
dumping.
subject to a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Until we fix our
Ordinance.
ordinance and makes it a town violation. So,
So I think the question is what immediate means,
exactly,
I think
yeah.
we should.
Yeah.
We should
We
have,
will let them know that we're
Yeah.
adopting the changes in the ordinance,
Yeah.
and
we should
tell
have
them
a
that.
date certain that we
Yeah.
all agree on.
I will ask that question
Yeah.
of Julie when
I imagine
send
is
this.
when it's signed,
I imagine that it's when it's
They're
signed
gonna-
by the
that-
town.
it's
Yeah.
signed by the town,
At
which will
least
be,
get the signs up
right,
and yeah, so we can work with the sign company right away. All we gotta do is come up with the language, and we can get the signs printed and
yeah.
ready to go.
They did
I
have,
imagine
they did
it's
have
gonna
in
take-
bold on this particular issue immediately.
Yes, immediately.
So I think we're looking at it just a few weeks downstream, right? I mean,
Yeah, however long it takes
Takes
them
them
to
to-
turn it around.
once we,
and get
if
it
we
done.
agree today to accept it, so this is gonna go into effect mid-December,
Mid-December.
before the Christmas
Before the
week,
end of the year.
before the end of the year. Good, okay, so I make a motion to do I need to make a motion or, yeah, make a motion to accept the draft administrative order by consent given to us by the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and for the town manager to relay said acceptance to NHDES for them to finalize the consent order for town and state signature.
Second,
All in favor?
all right,
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anything more we want to say about the shed relocation?
Nope, we're good.
We're good there. All right, let's move on to the,
Yay, good job.
for now. Water line project.
The Little Line project.
Yes,
The renovations to Pump House 2 have started, and so both exterior and interior. Power has been run to well 3, they just have to do the connection to the pump inside the well, test the pump. And get everything ready to get well 3 online, which we have a meeting next week. So that we should know a schedule certain for that work. Also, Pump House 1 needs to be demoed. They have moved the heat trace for the pressure sewer line on the bridge. It's outside in a cabinet and it's operational. And
I think it's realistic for next week, maybe for the demo,
hopefully,
depending on
Yeah.
the weather.
we'll know. We have a Teams meeting for the project on Wednesday with the engineers and the contractor, so we'll have a more definitive schedule at that point.
And we're still trying to finishing everything except the generator, acquiring the and placing the generator by the end of this year.
Mhm.
And that includes the fence.
We'll have a small punch list.
We'll
go
get the
along
fencing
with
in
the
before the ground done.
Is the, have they provided us with a date on the fencing yet? Have you
Not
seen
yet,
anything?
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ground's starting to get a little cold, isn't it?
But yeah, everything is still tracking.
Right.
So.
And we're working on the chemical addition for making sure that well
Mhm.
3 gets the. proper
How long do you
contact
think?
time.
How long you think before well 3 will be online? If everything holds the schedule?
It's depending upon what needs to be modified in order for the chemical feed system to be
Okay.
sufficient.
Yeah, we're working with A&D.
Maybe something very simple.
Yeah.
So,
Control wise, hopefully, yeah.
All right. Any questions on that? Wastewater treatment plant maintenance and the project.
yeah, maintenance wise, I don't have anything new for you. In terms of the project. I don't know if you guys have anything that you want to talk about from the previous meeting, but I don't have anything new with.
No.
For information.
Working on the 90% design.
Yeah.
Phase.
Yep.
So,
And that's if we get that in February, I think it was.
no,
Was
we
it,
should get that beginning of January.
is
I
it
thought
January?
it was pushed back to February.
I thought they, in
Was
the,
it?
in the meeting,
Well,
they said.
the final report, but the numbers they're
Well, we
getting
have
us.
to-
Right, and you guys obviously,
Yeah.
right, I'm meeting with them on a regular basis, the
Right.
engineers. About the 90% project.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, so the actual report,
The actual report.
that
be
we
in
will
February, but
look
that's-
at in time for us to. Have the quote unquote final numbers for the town. Town
we're
meeting,
gonna Have the final numbers in January.
yeah,
will
well, we have to have, it,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think we're still looking at a separate, we'll have a public hearing, obviously.
I'd like to
On that,
do
and
a
a
public
separate-
hearing, the separate public hearing on
Right.
that,
Right,
or at least on the CIP and then.
and the bonding, right,
Another on the rest of the budget, the
Right.
actual operating
Okay.
budget. So,
and we're still looking at potentially. A separate, so that everyone. Reminding people of this. A separate deliberative session on the wastewater treatment facility in March.
well, again, maybe all bonding in one meeting.
In one
and
meeting.
then The operating budget in another.
In a
meeting.
separate-
And then all of these,
Right,
all of these non-monetary articles have that separate.
right, there'd be on sort of a quote unquote normal or regular voting day.
Yeah.
Follow that evening or at 5 or 5:30, whatever it is. With the deliberative session, but then also a separate deliberative session on bonding.
Correct.
Which will include this largest project in town history.
Yeah.
Sometime in that same timeframe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep your calendars open, everybody.
Yeah, couple of days.
Okay, anything on the wastewater treatment plant? Okay. Swept update.
So the temporary restraining order hearing is next Monday, the 28th at 2 p.m. at Rockingham Superior Court.
Why did you get moved to Rockingham from Grafton?
The judge at Grafton recused himself because he's a property owner in Lebanon.
Oh, that's right, I guess. Try that.
And so at that time, hopefully the judge will decide on the TRO, and then they're going to have a hearing on the injunctive relief question. They've scheduled about an hour and a half. So counsel for the coalition communities will participate in that hearing. So we'll hopefully have something by your next meeting to report. But it is, the wheels of justice grind on very slowly.
So if they don't grind us in the.
Yeah. Hopefully.
in the process, but it seems that it's looking less likely.
Well, the
On
TRO. not
2022,
being
yeah,
dealt
TRO,
with Till
right,
the
right.
28th is.
DRA is still
it's
going out with
basically
tax
dead
rates,
Anyway, so,
right? It appear, right?
Yep.
The potential legal issue, you want to talk about non-public session, does it involve this?
yes.
Okay.
yes, yeah.
All right. Any, okay, on the
That's
sweat,
everything.
okay, any boards,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
sorry.
yep, Carney, we have correspondence, yes?
Yeah, the recycling subcommittee email,
Yes,
from
yes, I
Jeff
saw that from
Stoker.
Jeff, very
we can
good.
just, we can defer that, take it under advisement for the budget hearing, but they have some ideas in there.
Yeah.
That we should probably talk about
Consider.
as part of the CIP
Yeah.
or as part of the operating budget, so.
I mean, I'd
just
be,
at least they got us.
oh yeah, no,
the
this is
list, that's
good, this is very good, and I think perhaps when Jeff is up. Over the holidays or
Yeah.
sometime, I know John lives here and Barbara lives here, yes.
Mhm.
Perhaps we can meet with them either as a full select board or just one of us to go over.
What they.
Have they gone to facilities that are doing this?
No, but they've done a lot of online research.
The place I
know
lived
Barb-
in Maine did all, baling all of the stuff and. I was surprised at the size building that they talked about, because the one in
Yeah.
Maine was big.
Yeah.
20 by 30, was that it?
Oh, this was probably
This,
50 by 70. It was big.
yeah,
It was a
You
big
need
building.
storage.
you need storage and you need space for the baler. Everything's got.
And you got heavy equipment in there, moving the stuff around.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it's a small building.
No.
Yeah, but no, we have to look at it in the context of the footprint of the,
Well, but I think
Right.
on the things that they've been talking about have not been full blown recycling. They're
Right.
basically looking for what we currently use those metal containers for. To have as just.
right. Like I said, it'd be good to sit
General.
down and actually talk through
Yeah.
this and see if there's any other tasking
Yeah.
we'd like them to look at, and maybe there is something we can put in front of town meeting. Or the depending on what kind of contract we have on our solid waste.
Yeah.
Disposal. Process will have an impact as well. All right. Board concerns and directives, do you have anything?
No.
No, I didn't have anything either. If nobody has anything else. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
We'll go into non-public
Happy
session.
Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Can I have a motion to go into non-public
So
session?
moved.
All in favor?